Do we understand everybody all the time? No.
I
No,
don't even understand myself. We
no,
opened
right?
with me not even understanding why I was like wounded, and then
Yeah,
went, oh, that's why.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, wait a minute, 5, 10 years down the road, you're like, oh, that now, okay, now I get that. Now that makes sense, right? Hello, Psych fans. Welcome to another fun-filled, action-packed day of psychology. This is the Exemplary Human Podcast, and we are introducing ourselves today.
Hi, I am Allison, and I'm coming to you from 6 years of therapy. So lots of lived experience and lots of realizations that human connection comes from a better understanding of ourselves and our experience and our self-worth, and having come to the conclusion that connection equals less contention and improved communication, which I think our world could do really well with right now. So I'm here and I'm joining in on this project because I think that now is the time for us to be building connections with ourselves and with other people and to improve the communication just going on in the world as a whole. And I will pass it off to my co host, Spencer.
Hello, everybody. Spence Kohler here. I'm the professor. I have had about 15 years, this is my 15th year, of educational experience teaching psychology courses at the collegiate level. And I have been a therapist at one point in time, so I understand a lot of these concepts in practice. It is also safe to assume, too, that I am a father, so I have practiced a lot in many different respects and have first-hand experience in using these principles. And one of the things that I enjoy most about this is the idea behind therapy. There's some people in this world that are not too excited about therapy, and there's some people that are not quite sure therapy is the right fit for them, or they haven't found the right therapist, or insurance doesn't cover things. So if you've ever thought about therapy and thought, oh, I just can't make it or can't do it or can't, jump on board with that, this is the podcast for you, because we talk about a lot of personal things that are applicable to anybody in anybody's situation, and we link it all to some really good foundation principles found in psychology to help us be just that, exemplary humans. So, Allison, how did we meet?
The long version or the short version? We
Yeah,
will go. We'll go for the short version.
that sounds good.
So we actually met. We were both serving at our university on
Hmm.
a committee, a group, a board, whatever we want to call it, to help staff at that university. And I had this crazy idea to put on a staff conference to do a professional development conference for them, and realized I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. And so Spencer was one of the individuals that I reached out to who went, yes, 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 no, maybe so. And we and a group of a couple other people came together and found out that A, we worked really well together,
So
and
true.
B, that we really didn't want to shut up. And we had a whole lot of other things to talk about once we put
Hmm.
this conference on.
Yep.
And so Spence and I have been talking for a couple months of just like, what can we do? Because we just love talking and we both love teaching. And our day jobs have sort of a limited ability for us to do that as much as we would love to do. But
Hmm.
also, how can we serve? We were both on that conference committee because we wanted to serve, and that
You
desire
bet.
has not gone away. So we decided we'd come together and see if we could offer principles of therapy to help either people who are like, y'all are crazy, or to help people who go, yes, I know that this is a need, but it can't happen right now.
Hmm.
Or just people going, my life could be better, but I don't know where to start.
Hmm.
And we want to provide a place for that conversation to start. And so we do not promise to always make sense in the beginning, but we will always get there in the end. And at the
Hmm.
end of every episode, we will offer a too long didn't listen, or in our language, a what in the heck were y'all talking about? Please break it down.
Hmm.
But even if clarity is not there in them every moment of this podcast, there is going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
It will be a little weird.
Hmm.
It's going to get a little vulnerable sometimes, but overall, it's going to be a great time. And we are so excited to have you with us as we figure out how the human brain works.
It is so true. And I think the other thing too that I think folks are going to expect is this is going to be relatable. This is going to be something that people are going to relate to. And maybe one podcast over another may be a little bit different. You might relate to one versus another. But I think it's important to keep in mind that there's concepts that will be taught here that at one point in time they will be useful and they will be something that you can draw upon. So they're here. They're here for you to have in your tool belt, your proverbial psychology tool belt, if you will, to pull those out when you need in order to survive some of the hard things that we all go through in life. And I think that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to is because if I had a podcast like this, if I had tools like this, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I would be a whole lot better off than where I am or what I am today. And maybe have gotten there a little bit quicker too at that if I had had those. But yeah, we had an amazing fun time putting together this educational conference, which was a phenomenal project. I would say by far, and I don't know if you agree with me, but I would say by far, it was probably the best team I have worked
Oh,
on, and
100%.
still is a leading team and stuff like that. So we enjoyed working with those folks, and Allison and I have now decided to take it to the next level, which is this podcast. So we appreciate you taking the time to listen and tune in because we have a lot of great things to cover. So thanks for being with us.
We are now going to join a conversation that was in progress. We felt it was only fair to introduce you to who these wonderful talking voices are, but we also wanted to get straight into the meat of what we're hoping to offer. And so the rest of this episode is a discussion about speaking and engaging in the world from our scars instead of our wounds, how we can show up to be our best self in the variety of things that show up in any given day. And I am going to give you a sneak peek. So, healing, well, healing in general, but speaking from our scars instead of our wounds is only the beginning. In the next few episodes, we will also just be looking at what in the heck is trauma. We refer to it a lot in this episode, but we want to break it down for you so that it's a little more everyday use. We're also going to talk about just tools that we need to function in this world when we're go, 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 and deep dive more into bilateral stimulation, which is what we sort of will be visiting in this episode. And we've got plans. I'm so excited. I'm sure you can read the notes for this and find out even more of them, but we'll stick with you, leaving you wanting more, and look forward to what you have to say and how you feel about this episode. And we'll just keep on bringing them because we think a lot and we have a lot to say about what we think.
So true, so true. And thanks for joining us on this journey, folks. We're excited to have you on board. Here we go. And action.
Just know we're going to be editing the heck out of this first one, but
Yes, yeah, it's good.
we're opening on this idea of we share from our scars, not our wounds,
Yeah.
because I just think that that's generally a great piece of advice, whether you're being a creative in your writing or your podcasting or your whatever. But I think it's also powerful just when we're talking with people in general,
Oh yeah.
because our and whatever we want to call them. Like right now, my parts are running the show, and I know my parts are running the show. Like my
Hmm.
5-year-old has been running me the last 3 days, is gonna keep
Wow.
running me for
Oh
the
yeah.
next. And it's like I know enough that I like know not to like let her out publicly, but
Hmm.
I don't always know enough to not have her run me,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Okay.
And so I'm just in this place right now where I'm like, okay, I know she is here and she is present and she is raring to go. She's not necessarily the one that I want to be running this podcast.
I don't know. She might be really good at
No, I know she will be, but
it.
she's also incredibly overwhelmed. I
Mm.
found out that I might have a stalker on Friday.
Wow. Boy, look
So,
at you, Allison. You're just so popular. I just, don't know what.
well, I just had to laugh because you said, what if people like see our faces? Like, what do we want to do about that? How do we want to
Hmm.
feel? And I
Hmm.
already have someone Facebook stalking my Facebook page and calling me and telling me that I have great hands.
Wow. Pick a feature. Hands. I mean, who knew?
Well, this all started December 2024
Hmm.
when someone from a blocked number called and said, "Hey, I'm part of this frat. It's like rush week, it's hazing. So we're just supposed to call somebody at the library and ask them these questions." And it was like, 5:30 on a
Right.
Friday, 4:30 on a Friday, and I'm like, "Sure, I whatever." And he asked some really awkward questions.
Mm.
And I was like, "Well, like, whatever, gotta kill a half an hour." And I was alone in the office, and I'm a people pleaser friendly person by nature, so it felt really rude to me to just, like, hang up. So I
Right.
was like, "Hey, let's not do that."
Mhm.
But so I answered some questions and felt kind of uncomfortable with it, but I was like, this is a frat house. Like, really, what am I expecting? Anytime that I think of frat houses or sororities, I always think of Sydney White.
Mhm.
Sydney White in The Seven Dorks, which is just, it's a great Amanda Bynes movie
Mhm.
where she's rushing with the sorority house. She's a pledge, so her mom was in it. Supposed to be great. Of course, the girl who runs the house hates her and casts her out. She has to go live with the dorks. Anyway, one of the pranks they do is they had to sing Celine Dion songs while having people throw bologna at them. So,
Sounds like a reoccurring nightmare of mine.
yep. So that's just my like standard sort of idea of like that's what sorority houses and frat houses are, or you're rushing around the university in your underwear. Like that's just what we do. And
Makes
so to
sense.
have someone call and do a sexy librarian interview, I was like awkward. I'm not a librarian, but whatever.
Mhm.
Didn't really think anything of it. Conversation took 20 minutes. Moved on with my life.
Mhm.
He called up on Friday again, still with a blocked number, referenced answers from that conversation,
Hmm.
referenced my Facebook page,
Oh.
and kind of referenced that like he knows where I'm at on campus.
Mm.
And I bought pepper spray over the weekend.
Good precaution.
Now we might be wondering,
Mhm.
what does this have to do with my 5-year-old? Like, why is my 5-year-old running the show at this point? Oh crap.
Is your
That
5-year-old enamored? Is she
uh
flattered?
no, but I'm just remembering she was in the aftermath of some of this when I was a kid.
Ah, okay.
See, this is why we talk. This
Yeah,
like
no, this is
this is
good. This is great.
this is not for like public consumption really, but I'm just sitting here going, why is she the one running it?
Mhm.
Because she has been running it since that phone call. And
Yeah.
it's because there were some things that went down when I was little. I
Mhm.
don't remember. I just know they
Mhm.
happened, but
Right.
she remembers. And so she's going, I was the one that had to pick up the pieces before. I'm the one that's going to pick up the pieces again.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so for me, like I'm stepping into all of these new awesome, lovely, wonderful things and she remembers what it was when it was hard and it was scary and the
Mhm.
adults didn't know what to do.
Mhm.
And so even though my adult self is very capable,
Yeah.
she's just
Yeah.
like, I don't want you anywhere near this because the last time I trusted adults with this, they
It did
messed up.
not go well.
It did not go well. They messed up
Yeah.
bad and it altered my entire life. And
Mhm.
so she's sitting here going, we don't trust adults.
Yeah. No, let me in the driver's seat here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But she's also not meant to have a full-time job.
No.
She's not meant to be running two different side businesses right now.
Mhm.
She's not meant to be running a podcast and making decisions and doing all of these or being in a relationship.
That's an awful
That's
lot.
that's a lot for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, that's overwhelming.
And so it's like it's a powerful thing. And for me, I'm a oral processor.
Mhm.
So I can just sit with myself all day long and have no clue what the heck's going. But
Hmm.
the minute that I start talking and I've like because I've been sitting with this for like 4 days, like, why am I such a mess? Oh,
Ah,
well, because she's terrified out of her mind because she
right.
remembers last time.
Yeah.
And so it's just interesting to me, like our wounds can teach us so much,
Mhm.
but if we don't talk to them,
Mhm.
they can run us in some very interesting places.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that too when you're talking about relationships and how, if we speak from our wounds, we can pause, we can reflect, we can really, or excuse me, speak from our scars. That's what I'm going for.
I was like, I
Speaking from the
generally
scars.
don't do that
Yeah,
when I
no, no,
speak
no,
from
no,
my
no.
wounds.
Speaking from our scars, we can reflect and we can think through some things, and we're a little bit more out to be able to communicate better, and to be able to understand better, and be able to have a little bit more self reflection better. Um, if we would keep this one concept in mind, I think we would hurt people less. We would throw out far less verbal daggers than we do. we would lose our cool, far less. Because speaking from the wounds, they're raw, they're open, they are gaping, they are painful. And even though sometimes the memory of that pain can last and reverberate into the whole scar and the scar tissue that's there. But how interesting is it if we would remember every time we go into a conversation, especially if it's like a crucial conversation or if it's high stakes conversation, where we know there we have a chance of being triggered, we have a chance of being dysregulated. In that we could constantly think, okay, to help me stay grounded in this, is this a wound comment or is this a scar comment? And that's absolutely stunning advice. I think I have never heard that before.
It's new, but I'm watching this kind of evolve as we're talking, and you can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I used to struggle when I was first in therapy. So I've been in therapy 5.5 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't think I needed to be in therapy
Mm-hmm.
until I was really unhappy in my marriage and then just went, well, not something's not working, so I better go fix it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned a whole lot since then. Um, but I never understood when they're like, "Well, you don't talk from your pain. Like, don't let that rule you." And I was like, "I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what you're talking about." But it's the difference between when I was little, I fell off my bike and got all of this gravel in my elbow, and it hurt like the dickens.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have a scar to this day, and sometimes my elbow has some questions for me a little bit. It's a little sore, but
Mm-hmm.
as you're talking about being in a conversation with someone, how am I interacting if I'm the girl who just fell off her bike
Mm-hmm.
versus the adult person who's now going, look at my cool scar?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is if I'm addressing it like from my wound, I'm close to tears. I'm frustrated at the person who's trying to help me because they're just going to hurt me more.
Yeah.
I don't see a good outcome from this.
Mm-hmm.
And my body is tensed and it's in fight or flight and it is ready to just be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we're in a conversation and we're feeling like that, that is a fantastic time to tell the person we love, I am sorry. I am in a wounded place. I've got to step back.
Yeah.
I need a minute
Mm-hmm.
because I'm reacting like that little girl who fell off her bike
Mm-hmm.
when I want to react like this seasoned experience young lady who can look, hey, look at this cool scar.
Mm-hmm.
And that pain is still with me. Like I still
Mm-hmm.
remember what it feels like, but it is offering me experience. It's
Yeah.
offering me perspective. And I want to be able to speak from that experience. And I want to speak from that perspective and meet someone with empathy because I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
But it is you can tell that difference in your body. And so I think it's powerful when you're going into these crucial conversations, when you're going into these really big moments, to just check in with yourself and ask, okay, how fast is my heart rate beating?
Mm-hmm.
How fast am I breathing? Am I a little sweaty? Now, if you're anything like me, if
Mm-hmm.
you're going into a crucial conversation, that's probably your native habitat going into a crucial conversation. But you can tell there's that extra layers behind it. It's
Right.
different going into a conversation you're excited about or you're
Mm-hmm.
nervous about, and your body's getting ready because it
Mm-hmm.
needs the adrenaline to be present. But if you're going into it and you're hearing that young self saying, "Please just love me," or
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling that young self going, "I just want to be needed. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to be cared about," you can feel that.
Yeah.
You can hear that. And so if that's what you're feeling, that's when you pause and you go to the person that you're about to have this conversation with and say, "Hey, I need a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
I am not going to be able to show up the way I want to show up for you." And
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that's you go walk around the block. Maybe that's you go and you sing Adele in the bathroom, the top of your lungs. That's a
Right.
personal favorite for mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe you put an ice pack on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, but you take a minute, but always tell the person that you're walking away from you're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
say, "This is important, so I want to be in the best headspace I can be.
Yeah.
I'll be back."
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference between setting yourself up for a successful, crucial conversation and a,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh crap, what if I did?"
Yeah.
conversation.
Oh, wholeheartedly. I remember one time with a direct supervisor that I felt unsafe with. I remember I was prepared. I had this crucial conversation, all set up, ready to go. Told them that I wanted to talk to him and everything. I had written down notes. I had notes right next to me, ready to go. I mean, I was so prepared. And I remember just moments before, as I was watching, literally watching the clock tick away, as the time approached. And I remember feeling my body as the tick, tick, tick of the clock kept happening. I went into fight or flight, and I went into a younger, self of mine, which made my insides shake. Like I was cold on the inside, and I was totally in that fight or flight place. And I remember I had to rely on my training and rely on my skills and stuff, because I knew I wasn't functioning up to par, and I knew that this individual would send me where I didn't want to go. And I think one of the things that, like you were talking about, it really hit home to me to say, hey, there's a lot more going on here. It's like I'm trying to have a conversation, and I'm feeling these past ages and selves of mine that are there, and trying to, one hand, they're trying to protect, right, and on the other hand, they're trying to intervene in any way they possibly can, because they know there's trauma that's going on and happening there as I'm going through this. And I literally had a grip on the desk. I was there talking,
No.
and I was like, okay, and I got through it, after all the preparation and after everything that I did, and trying to work through the situation while I'm trying to have the conversation, being mindful, being self-aware of those things. And after the conversation was done, I said, man, that was hard, but I'm so proud of myself, because I did it, because I hung in there, and I did something that was really, really hard. And then I could go back to some of those past selves that popped up and said, hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing what you did. I appreciate you. And spread a little love, and say, but I don't need you anymore. I can have crucial conversations. Thanks for doing what you did when I needed you, how I needed you, and the way I needed you. But now moving forward, I've got this. Thanks. My 30 some odd year old self has this. I will be okay. And I think that's important when we're looking at those past wounds, and saying we need to give them gratitude, because nobody comes out of this world unscathed.
Mm-mm.
I mean, everybody's going through something at some point in time, and it's just a matter of us giving a little gratitude to those wounds that we have, because they're there for a reason. They can be reminders. They can be past very painful and very structured things, that can help us go back to some of those and say, oh yeah, this is an area of safety for me. I need a little protection here. I need this. They are opportunities for us to learn and to put skills in place in order to become better individuals, in the long run, which I think is huge. And I love the skills that you talked about, the cold packs and things like that. Those are extremely helpful. The square breathing is another good one that I think is important. Even bilateral stimulation. One of the things that I love, I wish we would do this more as a society. Do you ever remember as a kid when your parents were like, "Hey, we need, Allison, we need to talk," and you're like, "Oh crap, what
Oh,
did
I
I
hated that.
do?
Hey,
What did I get myself into?"
even as an adult, even I've worked a full job, number of
Mm-hmm.
years, get a message, Slack message, we need to talk.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hate it.
Send you through the roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm.
Wouldn't it be nice if somebody said, "Hey, let's go for a walk," and then you've got two individuals that are taking steps back and forth, which is a form of bilateral stimulation. And you, as you're walking, let's say you're walking on campus, or you're walking around work, or you're walking around the neighborhood at home, whatever the case might be. How much better some of those conversations might go, or might have gone in the past, had we utilized some of these skills, when something was coming up, when something was happening. I remember one time, my son, he was struggling to take out the trash, and I was like, oh, I gotta go confront him about the trash. He's not doing his jobs, blah blah blah. It was really bothering me, and I knew I was already festering. And on the way, I was like, okay, as soon as I confront him, he's gonna get defensive, and he's gonna start throwing not real stuff, but attitude, whatever the case might be. And so I grabbed the ice on my way. I passed the freezer, and I was like, yep, I'm going to take some ice right here. There we go. Hold it in my hand. And I go in, and I approach him. And it went so much better, because I was able to remain regulated and have a good conversation with him. And I was able to help him stay regulated because it was difficult, and it was something simple. I mean, just taking out the trash. It's no big huge topic, but we still we got through it because using those tools were absolutely crucial. So I love that you mentioned those tools because that's awesome.
Well, and he has stuff too.
Yeah.
I think that's something to remember as humans. We're talking about the person having the experience. That
Mm-hmm.
we're the person who we know. I now recognize that was my 5-year-old running the show, or that was
Mm-hmm.
my whatever-year-old that was feeling rejected or betrayed or hurt or any number of things. All of us have those.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe some responses are bigger, some
Mm-hmm.
responses are different for each one of us, but we all have them.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we're engaging with people, it's also important to realize, like, just as we're coming into a conversation with stuff, the people we're talking to also has stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so the more that we do those regulation techniques and the more that we can stay regulated, the easier it is to hold space when someone else might be reacting from a place that we don't understand,
Right.
or that they're to have offer grace and space to realize that, oh, they're probably not reacting to me, or
Mm-hmm.
like they're reacting to me 15% while they're experiencing something 85% that I know nothing about.
Mm-hmm. Another thing. Oh, sorry, you had another point you were going to jump on.
I'm about to go somewhere else, so you should take it
Oh,
right where we are.
so I was going to take this to just a little bit different level, and point out another really completely relevant aspect here, which I think is phenomenal. Because as I'm rolling this whole visualization along, I'm like, yeah, that works here and here and here and here. So one of the other things that I think is really interesting is when as you're talking about getting together with people, and when we're having a conversation with somebody, or somebody approaches us with hey, we need to talk type of situation, and you feel your body go into that fight or flight, that is an indication that that wound has not been healed, or I haven't done the work that I've needed to do in order to fix said wound. So for example,
Not fix, to resolve.
to
Sorry,
resolve. Good.
I'm a
No,
big
that's good.
believer of
No, that's
we don't
good.
fix things,
I
we
love that.
resolve.
No, no, and we don't just get over things either. We have to work to resolve these things. So I think that's really interesting to really put that into play, to say, okay, yeah. So if somebody approaches me with something and I'm triggered, well, that triggering is supposed to tell me something. I am supposed to learn something from that trigger. And that trigger tells me, I have more work. I need to look at this. I need to understand this a little bit more. I need to spend some time here. And if you're working with a therapist, that's something that you can bring up in the next therapy session. That's something you can bring up with somebody else who can provide a little bit of outside perspective to help you on that pathway to heal those. And I think that's one of the things that we're seeing, like nationwide, worldwide. We'll go worldwide here, is that everybody is at this level of open wounds and open wounds and open wounds. And that's why we're seeing road rage is a little bit higher and higher and higher every year. We see people who just are impatient at work, who are not providing safe places, who are just, we're just reactive, 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 reactive. And if we're reacting to everything, that's because there's mountains of wounds that are open that we have not worked on. We haven't done the work that we needed to do.
Well, and I would even say we haven't offered the love they need.
Yeah.
That's the big piece for me when a part is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
She's asking me for love.
Mm-hmm.
She's asking me for attention
Mm-hmm.
because she's stuck in that time because she didn't feel seen, she didn't feel heard, and she did not feel understood. And
Mm-hmm.
so she got locked in that time, in that place, because the other people in my life at that time, if these are my really young selves that are generally meant to offer that to me, were too
Mm-hmm.
stuck in their own stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not because they were awful, it's not because they were horrible, it's because they had their stuff. And so
Mm-hmm.
she got stuck there because she did not feel loved. She
Mm-hmm.
did not feel seen, heard, or understood. And
Mm-hmm.
so when those wounds are coming up, it's because that part is saying, I'm still hurting. This is still an issue. I'm still confused. You still don't see me. And
Mm-hmm.
so the work that we do is sitting with those parts of us, that the resolution that we're seeking is to sit there and finally help them feel heard and seen and understood. And that's what everybody in this entire planet is looking for right now.
Oh,
Every
all over.
conflict we're seeing is
Mm-hmm.
everybody just saying, "Don't you see me? Don't you hear me? Don't you understand? Don't you care?"
Mm-hmm.
And as you're saying, because the whole world is in emotional flames, if not in
Mm-hmm.
literal ones, very
Mm-hmm.
often it's both. We never have any rest.
Mm-hmm.
We're never able to bring our body back to regulation. We're
Mm-hmm.
never able to kind of create enough space for ourselves to address those parts of us. So we're just jumping from wounded part to wounded part to wounded part. And then
Mm-hmm.
we're really exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And so those tools that we're talking about, that getting an ice pack and holding onto it or putting it on your chest or singing or walking, are things that help your body calm down enough to be able to look at the wound,
Mm-hmm.
preferably with a professional, a trained professional who can, as you mentioned, offer that outside perspective. Because
Right.
if I'm sitting with my parts, I hate to admit it, my two responses are either please sit down and shut up because I'm already stressed and this isn't helping,
Mm-hmm.
or okay, I hear you, please go away. Those responses generally don't help us feel seen, heard, or understood.
Not so much.
But when I'm exhausted, that's all that I've got.
Right.
So providing regulation and providing someone we trust that
Mm-hmm.
can offer outside perspective can do a lot to help us so that those wounds don't have to run us
Yeah.
and don't have to bumper car us into other people.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I took over. You were going somewhere. I'm gonna let
No,
you.
no, we went right in the same place. That was good. This past fall, I was working at a job, and it was a public facing job. So we were working in what would be the word? Leisure service, hospitality. I guess that'd be the one. Anyway, so this gal came up, and I was doing these helping out with these things that were going on, these events and stuff that were happening at the hospitality business. Anyway, that being said, this young lady, she had a belly shirt on. And I happened to glance down and I noticed that there were a lot of scars, like crisscross scars.
Mm.
Now, I don't know, and I'm not going to, profess to even guess if they were maybe a time in her life when she was cutting, or if they were there by design. It looked like they were there by design because they were pretty evenly spaced and things like that. But I thought to myself, how would it be? How much different would we be as humans if we treated everybody as though they had open wounds and gave them the space and the grace and the love and the gratitude that they needed? And sometimes we don't see that. We get going and we go 100 miles an hour, and technology is making us fly through things so quickly. Sometimes we're just in and done. Get it in, get it done, get it out of the way. And yet we don't see, because it's hard to see those emotional scars. It's hard to see the emotional open wounds of things that we're still working on. Now, on the other hand, I don't think I want everybody to see all my open wounds.
Correct.
There's a lot of that I don't. I mean, I really hate to scare a whole bunch of people off, by all these gaping open wounds, or my arm is halfway hanging off the side. But to that, it's still important to sit back, and especially now, more today than ever has been in any part of time in the world, is that everybody needs to be handled with some tender, loving care and given that space and grace that I think is so detriment to where we are. And sometimes that's hard. That is
Mhm.
very, very hard, because do we understand everybody all the time? No.
I
No,
don't
I
even understand myself. We
no,
opened
right?
with me not even understanding why I was like wounded, and then
Yeah,
went, oh, that's why.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, wait a minute, 5, 10 years down the road, you're like, oh, that now, okay, now I get that. Now that makes sense, right? It's like a joke that you finally get, and you bust out laughing. You're like, I finally get that now. That makes so much more sense.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's one of the areas that I think is important and crucial for people to keep in mind, is that we've got a lot of people with some deep open wounds through a lot of trauma, and then at the same rate, even though we do have a lot of those open wounds and different things like that, we need to take the time to do the work that is necessary. And I think if more people realized or caught the vision of, like, yeah, I'm wounded here, 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 and I will be, coming from the male persuasion, I totally understand, that the guys are the first ones to say, no, I'm not wounded, I'm not wounded, I'm not wounded, I'm not wounded. And I hear it from men all the time who say, "Oh, therapy, yeah, those kooks," right? I'll never go to therapy because I don't need it. Now, you may not be, hugely diagnosed with some major, personality disorder or something to that extent, but you still have open wounds. Everybody does in some way, shape, or form, and maybe you rubbed a little dirt on it.
Gotten a little infected over
Yeah,
time.
right. And perhaps it even festered a little bit. And sometimes those wounds can get infected and they can grow and they can get bigger. And pretty soon it gets to the point where you can't ignore them any longer. And then then you go emotionally postal on somebody and you're like, wow, where I did not mean for that to happen. And I said a lot of bad things and I did a lot of bad things and I shouldn't have. And I am just absolutely, totally, and completely shocked that I am even capable of something like that. When what it was is a gaping wound that the work wasn't done, that it was just ignored, and we thought it would go away, right? But it
Wounds
doesn't.
don't go away. Like we just say that like healing just takes time. Healing
Right.
does take time.
Right.
That's something I have to come to terms with over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Healing will take time, but
Mm-hmm.
time itself does not heal
Yeah.
because the more that you suppress, the more that you hide, the more
Mm-hmm.
you pretend is what's rubbing dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Or I if you've ever had a puncture wound, not to get
Mm-hmm.
too gory, but the thing about puncture wounds is they actually have to kind of dig them out a little bit and open them so they
Mm-hmm.
breathe. They
Mm-hmm.
have to have breathe so that they don't go bad, so that
Mm-hmm.
they don't get necrotic. And so when we have these wounds, when we try and hide them and cover them and force them down,
Mm-hmm.
we make them significantly more painful and a lot more consequential
Oh
than if
yeah.
we just go, "Oh, hey, look, I just sort of cut myself. Okay, that's not cool, but I'll put some antiseptic on it, put a band-aid on it. You give it a couple
Mm-hmm.
days. The body can heal.
Mm-hmm.
The mind can heal, but you have to give it the TLC that you're talking about, Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that awareness so that it isn't infected and it isn't just this ticking time bomb that's going to blow up on a poor grocery clerk or a
Mm-hmm.
waiter or the car that didn't even cut in front of you, but you could see it in their eyes and you're sure that they
Mm-hmm.
were out to get you,
Yeah.
or this person that you have tied your life, well, you've connected your life to and you love deeply,
Mm-hmm.
but you feel safest with them, so they ended up with all of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a beautiful example of this, I just finished binge watching Ted Lasso.
Mm.
I've been told for years I needed to watch it. Absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a scene where so it's about a football coach, an American
Mm-hmm.
football coach. So he plays football, the throwing, field goal kicking kind.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets hired to be a coach in the UK, in England, and for AFC Richmond, that is a soccer team.
Mm-hmm.
But they call it football because
Right.
that's what it is. Anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
he's an American football coach to go coach football in the UK.
Hmm.
And it's him learning all sorts of stuff, and it's a fantastic mental health journey. And we might do an entire episode retrospective on it one day, but today is not that day.
Sounds good.
The point I love is the captain of the team finds out something about one of his teammates and won't talk to his teammate about it and just
Mm-hmm.
gets steaming mad. And a fan is shouting something, and he marches right up those steps and just goes at it with this
Mm.
fan
Pummels him.
and is just so mad. And so the one of the coaches pulls the captain aside and says, "You don't do that." But
Mm-hmm.
then he did exactly what we were talking about. He paused and he gave space and he just said, "I get that we are all going through things. And sometimes when we're going through something, we can be mad at something different, not realizing what we're actually mad at."
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that is so much in the case of our wounds. Because if we've spent 20 years of our lives trying to hide from it,
Mm-hmm.
and that infection, that pressure has just built up over time, we are going to look for any reason in our lives to relieve that pressure other than the thing that we're hiding from.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so important to just remember that if you're feeling really angry or you're feeling really frustrated or you're feeling really sad and it doesn't fit the circumstances you're currently in, or your reaction doesn't sort of meet the catalyst,
Mm-hmm.
there's probably something you're hiding from. There's probably a wound that you don't want to look at.
Yeah. Yeah. Wholeheartedly. Yeah. It makes a huge difference. Yeah, I think that's an amazing point. In fact, as you were talking, I was thinking about something else and then I totally lost it. But I just wanted to throw that in there because I because I think this whole metaphor can go further and further and further in so many different directions that just absolutely blows me away. How profound this advice is, that you speak from your scars and not your wounds. I just wow. I'm like I almost think I have to sit and marinate. Maybe we'll have a part two to this whole
Yes.
discussion, or maybe even it sets the stage for moving forward for a lot of our conversations as we do this, because ultimately the whole idea is to help people who listen to this heal some of those wounds or recognize that they have
Mhm.
wounds that need to be addressed. And that's an important thing. And I think I don't think we can stress that enough, that if you do feel like you have a whole lot of wounds and you're really hurting, and the more wounds you have, or the deeper wounds that you have, those are things that need some serious work. So, for example, if we're talking about, like you said, the size matters, right? In all of this, if we're talking about a little cut, like for example, I burned myself the other day. I can even show you. There's a little mark right here. There's a little smiley face right there that I got burnt as I was cooking dinner and everything like that. Now, that probably would have disappeared by now had I actually done something with it, but I didn't do anything to it. I just let it sit there. I poured some cold water on it and, made it calm down a little bit. But if I had put some medicine on it, immediately the coloration would have come back. The pain would have even gone away quicker, and all those different things. But sometimes we have huge, large lacerations that
Mhm.
really require a lot of time and a lot of attention and a lot of work. And like you said, time can do a lot, but working on it together with a competent professional is going to be huge in making sure that we get the work done that is needed. So yeah, I wish I remembered more about my thought because it was really, 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 really good.
Okay, so here's the goal. If it comes to you, you're going to write it down,
Oh
and we're going to
yes,
open our next discussion with how this all goes.
right.
Now, if you've gotten to this point in our discussion and you're going, who in the heck are these people and what is their fascination with this idea of wounds from scars? I would from scars instead of wounds. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Allison Fabricius, and I am an individual who is very aware of how wounds can affect communication and self worth and connection. And I'm a big believer that as we heal those wounds and as we can live more from our scars and less from our wounds, the greater communication we have, the greater connection that we have, and the greater ability we have to be the change we hope to be in the world. From as young as I can remember, I've always wanted to change the world, and I could never figure out how to do that. And the more that I live in the world, the more that I realize the more we love and the more we connect, the better we show up in the world and the better we can make the world. And so my hope for taking part in this contest, not a contest, in this
Is
podcast.
that what we're doing? Is we're having a contest here?
Hmm,
Battle of wits.
well, you're not totally wrong. I prefer to think of it a collaboration of wits.
There you go.
Um,
That's a good idea.
my hope is to share what I've learned from 5.5 years of therapy and a journey of self discovery and of coming increasing peace in my life with the whole world, because I think that there's a lot of wonderful things that can happen when we do that. And
Mm-hmm.
so I hope that you all will join us in just discovering, am I more reactive than responsive? Am I reacting to situations a little bit more intensely than I intended? And just come learn with us. Find out what might be coming up for you. What are different things that our body does? What are different things that our brain do? What can go haywire and what can go right? And how do
Mm-hmm.
we help ourselves navigate all of that? So I'm here because I'm excited to learn about that and hopefully to share a couple things of the learning and process. So I'll hand it over to you, Spencer. Why are you doing this fun little collaboration of wits?
Well, that is a good question. So I'm doing this because I learn by going through this stuff and learn from you, and I mean the profoundness in which you started this whole thing out, which is phenomenal. I really appreciate that. I'm Spence Kohler. I am the psychologist behind some of this. I have worked in psychology. I've been an educator of psychology for about 15 years now, and practiced therapy for a while. So I've done quite a few things as far as mental health is concerned, and I learn something new every day. And I love teaching people skills to help them live just a little bit better life. I love being able to help people because most people either can't afford, or insurance doesn't cover, or you just can't get out. The wait list is too long, and therapy is just not possible. And so, for that, we are here to help out for individuals who don't really want to go and get therapy, or who can't. We want to help out, give some tools, tips, and tricks to be able to help you survive the world that we know it. So that's why I'm here. So I love that.
We will give a bit of a disclaimer. We cannot stand in the place of your medical professional. We cannot diagnose. We don't.
Nor do we want to.
Nor do we want to. That's we know that we can't do that. And we hope that, as possible, that you are seeking those professionals who can offer assistance. If you are finding yourself in a place of harming yourself or harming others, that you will call 911, 988, or other hotlines, and that you will have the help and support. You can find the help and support you need. We are here to bridge the gap to professionals who can help your individual case. We are very excited that you've joined us. We hope that you'll continue joining us, because we've given you a broad overview of like the next 11 episodes.
The next adventures.
The next adventures. So we hope that you'll join us on those adventures, and that you'll be in contact with us and ask us questions. Find out. We'll be in a couple different platforms. Some of those will be to be determined, but we'll leave those around so that you can reach out, because we'd love to continue this conversation from where you are.
Well, and the other great thing too is we want to hear from you guys to find out what topics are interesting to you. What do you want to talk about? What do you want us to talk about? Because we want to be able to do our best to cover all the topics that are relevant for you. And if it's not relevant to you, then why
are we doing this?
Why are we talking about this? Why are we even discussing this stuff? Why do we even have jobs? So if there are things that are relevant, put them down in the comments. Let us know. Send us messages, because we want to make this as relevant as possible to you as the individual, because that's who we're doing this for. We're doing it for you. And on that note, let me just say this first and foremost. I love to get a little personal sometimes. And though I share personal things about myself, I do want to say that we are talking directly to you. You know who you are, and you know the struggles, you know the hard, you know the things that you're going through. And you need to remember what a wonderful, competent, kind, loving individual you really are. And that's important for you to remember. You are special because you are you, and there is no one else. To get little Fred Rogers, there's no one else like in the world. And that's what makes you special. And you are loved, and you are cared for, and you are a good person, and you are appreciated. So that is our message. That's what we love to share. That's what we are all about. And that's why we're doing this and moving forward with this phenomenal project. So thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you all. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Now, our disclaimer for this episode: we are not your therapist. We are not your medical provider. We are here to give information and things for you to think about, but please seek your medical professionals if you are in need of support.